Hi everyone, welcome back to my RetroBat build series of videos. This is now number 12, so we're getting up there. So again, same as before, in this one we're going to be adding a few more systems. So let's just bring them up. He says. Okay, so we've got, we basically did some Sony stuff. We did PS1 or PSX a little while ago, so now we're going to kind of step up into some more recent modern systems, so the PS2, PS3 and PSP. So these ones are a bit more interested in the fact also they're more modern systems, larger game files, and obviously they're going to use some of the external emulators. So they're not, I think PSP you can use RetroArch or you can use the SSPP emulator, but certainly for things like PS2, PS3, and definitely PS3, it'll be using an external emulator. So we'll show how to install and configure that. So yeah, a bit more interesting. So let's just go ahead and do what we normally do and extract them. So once you've downloaded the files, you'll end up, again, these ones that are split, because I've been using the DGU service. The DGU service where I found these. Obviously the person uploaded them has split them into these 240 meg chunks, because I think the limit on DGU is 250 meg per file, something like that. So we've got a bunch of files in there for PS2, a couple for PS3, and again some for PSP. So just on the downloading, I think so I switched over to DGU. I had a few comments already that while I think it's better than Mega, people had issues with Mega in the fact that the download speed was quite slow, it's limited, and then also there was the daily limit, which people seem to keep hitting and then didn't necessarily refresh properly, so they kind of try the next day and still get hit by the limit. DGU seems better. There still does appear to be a limit of such, so just I guess a warning to everyone. Also, I'm trying my best. I'm trying to find free sources for these without having to sign up or anything. So for DGU, the download speed doesn't seem to be limited so far. Not that I've seen, and no one's reported, so you can download at full speed, but there still does appear to be a daily download limit, and that seems to be if you're downloading from another user's DGU account. So someone very kindly put a comment in to say that they'd signed up for a DGU paid account, which I think it's fairly cheap. It's in the UK it's a couple of pound, probably a couple of dollars or whatever as well, depending on where you are in the world. And so that gives you some more benefits and features, but it still doesn't remove the download limit if you're downloading from another user's DGU account. So if you don't need to, please don't pay for an account. It should be just a case of being patient, downloading. That's kind of why I've split, or why they have been split by the person that upload them. So you can download bits at a time. Then if you hit your limit, you've still got some complete files downloaded, then you get the rest the next day, or use a download manager to do it. So yeah, again, I guess a similar issue to Mega. Please don't think I'm trying to force you down paying for a paid account with either Mega or DGU. I think it's just the way they work these days is that they like to enforce limits. So yeah, so on DGU there is no need, definitely there's no benefit for a paid account. There's still a limit on downloading from another user's DGU account. It's just a case of being patient. And like I say, I've shared stuff from my own Google Drive before. Obviously that's and I paid for the higher storage, so it's the higher tier of storage. And even then, there's still a download limit that Google put in place. Even if you've got you're using a paid account, I think they do it just so their system doesn't get overloaded. So theirs is kind of a bit more dynamic. So if you share something and it becomes very busy, very popular, lots of people try and download it, it will limit it for a 24-hour period. And then so it's just a case of you hit a limit, you come back the next day and try again. Obviously, it depends how popular it is. That could go on for a few days if it's very popular. So like I say, even with the paid services, there's still certain limits and limitations in place. They don't want just everyone downloading at full speed 24/7, because that'll just hammer their systems and cause some issues for all the users that are using it. So yeah, just a word of warning, I guess, on DGU. It is free and you can do it for free. So yeah, please don't feel that you have to buy an account to download it. And like I say, there is no benefit, so don't. If you have, I think with DGU you can cancel at any time, or they might have a cooling off period, I don't know. So anyway, sorry, that was just wanted to get that clear that that's what the case was. So again, if anyone's got any other suggestions, obviously we tried Mega, we tried tried Bigu now. If there's any other suggestions that we can get a decent amount of storage or available for free with no limits, I don't think that exists, but if it does, let me know and I'll have a look. So anyway, so for these we're going to do the same as we did before, in our RetroBat folder, into ROMs, and then there should be pre-existing folders for PS2, PS3 and PSP. They're actually called this as well. So if we go over here, so we've got PS2, PS3 and PSP, and they'll be empty. So just very straightforward, go into the first one, find the 001 file, it's sorted by name, should be at the top. Again, using the 7-zip manager myself, literally just pick up that folder, drag it, drop it into here. I've already got the files in here, obviously because of the size, just to save some time. I've got these already copied in. And also you notice here there's not like tons of games, because also, like I say, the file sizes are getting pretty big now. They're kind of, for PS2 it's kind of a single layer DVD type size. Also I've picked some slightly smaller games here, but also Burnout is nearly 2 gig in size. So yeah, there's sizes can get quite big with these. So I guess for these systems, and similar for PS3, inside here there's a single game, one of the smaller ones. So the point of these systems is less about having a massive collection of games. It's just to kind of show you guys how you add these systems, and once you've got them set up, you can easily source some more games, drop them into the right ROMs folder, and scrape the artwork, and away you go. So this is basically, like I say, adding them, setting up the emulator and getting it all working. For PSP there's slightly more because the file size is a bit smaller, but they're still, so they're still sort of, up to 500 meg. There's a lot that are bigger. Again, these are some of the smaller file size ones, but they go above 1 gig, 2 gig for some of the games. So as always, the games are there, all the images and videos, etc., everything you need to get up and going. So like I say, just drag these, extract these into the ROMs folder, and you're good to go. So let's just close this, go back to our RetroBat folder, launch the exe as we do. Move it out of the way. There we go. Right, so you can see here that it's added them. So I just turn on the Xbox controller. So we've got obviously PlayStation 1 we had before. So PS2. So yeah, a few games in there. So all the artwork's already there for you. PSP. Again, a handful of games all ready to go. And for PS3, we have just a single one. Like I say, these can be quite big. So again, showing you how to add them, and then you can obviously add more later on. So let's go back again. So let's just start with PSP, because like I said, I'm pretty sure this uses the built-in RetroArch emulator. So let's just launch this. Make sure. Be pre-configured with the bezel there. Let this load, make sure it loads okay. Looks to be good. I'll just give it a couple more seconds and make sure we load up to the title screen. I've got, again, as always, I've got the Xbox One Bluetooth controller in my hand, and just hitting the B button to skip through this. And there we go, into the start. So that's all working good. Like I said, I think there's an option to use the PPSSPP emulator, which I know some of you might work better than RetroArch, but I guess the core that's in RetroArch is PPSSPP core. Okay, I guess generally the rule of thumb is that the RetroArch core is often a few versions behind the standalone emulator, so you probably find the standalone might perform better for you, or might not. It's just, I guess sometimes it's a bit hit and miss depending on what system you've got and what graphics card you've got, etc. So what we can do, just quickly while we're on here, is if I come back and scroll down to the RetroBat item, come into here, and when we've got all the different emulators in this list, should be, yeah, PPSSPP. So we can come here and we can install it, and then we have the option to switch between them. So just say yes to install. It'll go ahead, grab the latest version for us, put it in the right place. Give that a few seconds. Oh, it's loaded full screen on my computer. I'm not sure you're going to see that okay, but it's got the full screen come up, so I'm just going to quit out of there. So now you've got that external emulator installed, you can now come back, go to the main menu, and you've got it's game settings. If we come down here, so we've got the per system advanced configuration. It kind of does what it says on the tin. So this is where you can change. Because out of the box, RetroBat has this all set up to run normally RetroArch if it's available for a particular system. But if you want to tweak it for any reason, you can do on a per system basis. So if we come down here, find the PSP. So emulator set to auto. What we can do is, so we've now got that installed. So the libretro is obviously the core for RetroArch, or you can pick the external emulator, the PPSSPP. I don't know why they call it that, but I always struggle to say it. So yeah, and that's how you change it. Simple as that. You can then come in here and change a few other settings about the aspect ratio, what resolution it runs at. So if you've got a really powerful machine, you can kind of upscale. You can do that for all the systems, but it works pretty well on things like PlayStation 1, PS2, and PSP. You can upscale the games, make them look HD. So you can choose to do that in here, kind of experiment. I tend to leave it on auto. Again, under video mode, you can set the resolution that it runs at, all that kind of stuff. But again, I'd say leave it as auto for now. And there's a frame skip option as well. But yeah, if you want to change it, we change it in here. I'm going to put it back to auto for now. But that's where you would change it. And then there's all stuff here about the shader sets. So the shader is obviously a bit more advanced. We might go into a later video, but all around sort of the effect you apply to the screen. Decorations are the bezels it have on the outside edge, and there's other stuff about resolution, video, and a whole bunch of advanced settings in here. Probably just if you're not sure what to do, just stay out. Either don't go in there or just leave it on also. But the emulator is the main one where you'd switch between emulators. So come back out again now. So yeah, that's just, I guess, just for information. So PSP. Let's go to PS2 now. Let's fire up the good old Crazy Taxi. And again, so this is going to install the external emulator, the PCSX2. I'll just say yes, please. And then obviously there would be other steps if you're doing this from scratch, but because back in video 1, I believe it was, we copied in the BIOS pack, and that BIOS pack is going to have the required BIOSes for, especially PS2 requires a proper BIOS to work. There's an update file as well for PS3 which we need, which should already be in there. PSP I don't believe needs one, but yeah, so these should just work kind of off the bat. So here we go, see Crazy Taxi firing up. And again, like always, for PSP you've changed to the external emulator, and obviously for PS2 uses the external emulator. If you need to tweak any settings, any sort of bits and pieces, you can obviously do a lot of it through the menu I just showed you in RetroBat itself, setting what emulator, what resolution, and that sets everything in the emulator for you. But if you need to go in and tweak controller mapping or set up the controller, it's best to go into the RetroBat folder, find the emulator, launch it, so it launches basically without the game loaded, like I showed in the other videos, and then you can configure your controller. So maybe we'll have a quick look at that after this. But this game's loading. And obviously we're moving up to these older systems, these newer systems, so they're a bit more demanding on the hardware. And obviously my PC at the moment is trying to do the video recording at the same time, so it does run a little bit slow, but when I'm not recording, obviously, yeah, these do run pretty well. So it's going to come up and ask me for a memory card, and obviously the Xbox controller is working really well. It's working out of the box, which is good. So we got there eventually, so let's just exit back out of there. So that's all working well. So, and again, if we want to tweak the settings, come down to the RetroBat menu. And that's we just click past it. So there's two versions of the PCSX2 emulator. One you can see there. This one is the SSE4 version, and then this one is the version 1.6. I think this is the standard version that you want to use. Yeah, I'll just hit the back button then. I tell you that one's not installed, so obviously that's not the one that installed by default. Yep, yeah, I cancelled it. That's fine. Oh, there's 3 versions. Well, let's find out which one it is then. This is AUX 2. I'm guessing it's AUX 2 that it's installed by default then, because it's obviously there. Hadn't prompted me to install it, so well, there you go. So AUX 2, whatever. I think there's some variations, that support different hardware. But anyway, so that's in. So also because RetroBat's already configured it for us and pointed it at our ROMs folder, it knows where these games are. So again, once we're in here, we can now do things like change different bit audio, graphics, all that kind of stuff, controllers. So we can come in here and we can obviously remap all the buttons if we need to. If it's not working properly, we can come here and set it all up. So yeah, we can say we could clear map if we want to. I think automatic mapping's kind of done this for us, but you would kind of do I guess to select, click on it, and then click on the button corresponding on the controller. So, and then once you're done, you can close out of here. Like I say, there's other settings around. I guess graphics is the other important one. Whether it uses Vulkan or whatever, is on automatic at the moment. And what adapter to use? Also, I've got the Radeon as my main card, but obviously it picks it up automatically. And there's a whole bunch, other stuff about what resolution to run at and screen size and some smoothing. I tend to turn VSync off because it slows mine down. I've got an older card, so. But anyway, yeah, that's what if you want to tweak. Hopefully you won't need to. Hopefully it just works out the box. But that's how you would tweak it. Just same as any other system. So let's go back and then let's just finish off by doing PS3. So I'm expecting it to prompt install. There we go. So RPCS3, which is probably, I say it's the main emulator for PS3. I don't know if it's the only one. Might still be the only one. I don't know if there's any others kicking around, but this is by far the most popular for PS3 emulation. And setting up the PS3 is a little bit more involved. So hopefully you can see that because it's gone off the screen. But basically the PS3 update.pub file is the same update file that you would install on a physical PS3. And part of the way this emulator works is it needs that installed, so that the PS3 software installed. So obviously it's found it. Like I say, we extracted that BIOS pack in the very first video into the RetroBat BIOS folder. So it's found it and it says, right, I found it, so I install it for you. Just say yes, because basically you have to. So it knows that there's 489. So 489 is the latest version available for, again, the actual physical PS3. I've got 488, so it's one version behind, but I'm not too worried it's one version behind, to be honest. So we'll just install that. It's just going to copy it across. So I think a couple of hundred meg of that file. So it will take a couple of seconds. So just need to get in there now. And there we go, it's gone full screen again, hopefully you can see it. But one of the first jobs it has to do is compile these modules. So also don't claim to be an expert in the emulator itself and how it works, but from what I've read, these modules are basically kind of, it's where you're playing a game on the physical console, and it kind of it has all the different shaders and all the graphics it needs to draw. This is kind of pre-populating those, so kind of compiling all these different modules ready to go for when you play the game. So when you're playing the game, there's less lag and no stuttering, because otherwise it would try to compile all these bits and pieces on the fly, and obviously that will hit performance. So it just does basically pre-setting stuff up for you, getting it ready to make sure the emulation is as smooth as possible. So we'll just let this run through. I might actually pause the video here because it can take a few minutes depending on the speed of your machine. So just find the pause button. Now while it's paused, I managed to resize the screen as well, bring it into view, so you can see the window there compiling, and then the log inside the emulator showing what it's doing as well. Just pre-compiling all these modules ready for first use. Okay, it shouldn't take much longer. Nearly there. And I think we're just about there. Yeah, I think we're good to go. The other good thing about having access to the emulator like this itself, you can actually go and check for updates. And because this is a nightly build, it's found another version. So a version slightly behind you on update, just say yes. So it's handy to do this every so often. I think you can do it with a couple of the emulators. I know this is definitely one you can do it in. So it's worth just doing this. So we'll just download the latest version and update it for you. And it's easy as that. Basically does it. And then closes and reopens. So there it is, reopened. Okay, so once it's done the update, it restarts. You'll see here the game's now in there. That's because I've just added that to test it. So to get that to appear in the list, you basically just click on File, Add Games, and then we're going back to the RetroBat folder. We're going to go to ROMs, down to PS3, and then we're going to open our Afterburner folder. The game is contained within there, so we'll just leave it at the folder above. Does that make sense? And click Add, and it appears in the list. So what we can do is give it a quick try through here. So we can either, I think we just click boot, or we can actually just double click. It will launch. Now this is something it does. Just hit escape. Just get it into Windows so you can see it. It does this again. It did some compiling the modules when we first installed the software, the main system software. So it's done some pre-compilation for that, and it's now doing it for the game. Again, this is a one-time thing. It pre-compiles the kind of the graphics and the bits and pieces that it needs before the game starts. Otherwise, it will try to do it while it's playing, and it'll make it a bit jerky. So you just give this a moment to complete. It shouldn't take too long. Also, it can vary on the game depending how many it needs to do. And then once it's done, the game should start. So just getting there now. and that's loading. And then this compiling shaders you'll see as well. So again, this is a one-time thing. Each time it loads a new scene or some graphics that it hasn't done before, it'll pre-compile the shaders for it. And like I said, it's a one-time thing. So the first time you run it up, you may find, yeah, you'll see it doing this. But it only happen once, or per scene or per level or whatever. No, wrong button. Oh, there we go. It's arcade. It's a little bit slow there where it's compiling these shaders. But as soon as they finish, it should speed up. It does again for that plane. Compiles. Once it's done, that's fine. And now I can flick back and forwards. Full speed. So do I hit the right button? You see there's kind of the scene's built and the various components are kind of appearing on screen as it's compiling the shaders. Again, like I say, it's a one-time thing. Once that's done, it's done. Now we're off and playing. See, it plays pretty well this game. Anyway, yeah, compiling shaders again there. So it's doing shaders now. You probably don't really notice the slowdown, so this is good. Oh, not too good at this game. So let's just stop it for now. Close this down. So let's see, that's all working. So we can now close that. And now, just to complete test, we'll launch it from the main menu. Let's go back into here. So I just need to find PS3 in the list. There we go. That's a little bit loud. So let's just launch the game through here. Make sure it all works. Quite why it didn't compile those. Let's hit escape to go to a window so you can see it easier. You can see that works fine. But obviously by default it launches it full screen, which is what you want. I've just hit escape to go into a window. So it's found that data from before. Start button. They said this time it's not compiling the shaders because it's already done it and they're stored. I'll keep hitting the back button rather than the actual select button. Everything should work a bit quicker now because it's pre-compiled. So anyway, you get the idea. That's working fine. So yeah, that's all the three systems added. Let me just turn this volume down for a minute. So that's all three systems added, all working well. So just on the PlayStation 3, obviously you can probably when you source extra games, they can become in different formats. So you might find some in ISO, so disk image format, something in the folder type format that we've got here with the Afterburner. So I definitely recommend getting them in the folder format. That seems to work well. I have seen them, like I say, in ISO, but I've not seen anything in documentation for a RetroBat that says it supports ISO. So either kind of, I guess, avoid ISOs, or you can get tools to extract an ISO into a folder format and basically convert from one to the other. But obviously, yeah, do a quick Google on that and find it. If I can find it, I'll drop a link in the description. But yeah, basically you can convert or extract the contents of an ISO image for the PS3 game into a folder format. I think some games don't like it. Some games may not work. So I don't think it's 100% guaranteed. It might be a bit hit and miss sometimes. So yeah, stick to the folder format for the PS3 games, and you should be good to go. So thanks for watching. Hopefully the video was useful. Also, yeah, 3 more systems added now. Getting quite a good number of systems in. So yeah, any feedback, let us know. Any more sort of feedback or info on BGU as the source, obviously let me know as well. Any other suggestions, that'd be great. I hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe. Please like the video. Obviously, you don't have to like it only if you liked it. But yeah, back soon with another one. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. Cheers, bye.